Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the severe threat for Monday and Tuesday of this next week, with day 3 showing a moderate risk now, which is actually the first ever day 3 moderate risk in March. So let's dive into this with the possibility maybe a high risk upgrade. We don't know yet, but let's dive into all this. I'm not going to spoil anything yet. We're going to see what all the models are showing in a second. Just as I did yesterday, we're going to start with the Spc Outlook. So we got today is kind of a quiet day, but we got very southeastern tip of Florida has a marginal risk, which will be for wind and hail. So we got a 5% wind and 5% hail, no less than 2% tornado. So not a tornado threat down there. Locally damaging winds and marginally severe hail will be possible during the late afternoon across South Florida, while the region will remain well separated from the shortwave trough moving east across the Carolina coast. A trailing cold surface front slides south today, so just kind of a regular day of just a little bit of very low end severe weather, possible hail and wind in the southeastern tip of Florida. Now let's go to day 2, where it starts getting really interesting here. So we've got enhanced risk for parts of southeastern Texas, actually just eastern Texas in general, but we've got 10% significant tornadoes, so there could be 1 or 2 significant tornadoes there. This is a very large population area too, 6,200 people, or 62 million people. 62 million people. 6.2 million people. There you go. Sorry about that. 6.2 million people are in this significant tornado area, 10% area. Now for wind, we've got a 15%, which is pretty low, so it's not a wind risk really whatsoever. And then hail, we've got 30% significant in the western border of that thing. So there could be some very large hail with these very strong updrafts that are producing these tornadoes. So that's another thing to watch out for. If you're in this area, if you're in the beginning, usually you're going to have a much higher chance of that large hail. And the tornadoes are there everywhere, basically. So expect thunderstorm to develop during the afternoon across central Texas near the dry line, so there'll be a dry line that comes through, while the other ongoing storms further east becoming increasingly surface-based as the boundary layer warms. So with very strong mid-level southwesterlies, 70 to 90 knots, that's insanely high. Spreading across shear will support super tight cells. So there you go, that's the large hail. Large hail is expected with the initial dry line storm, so that is right where I was saying, the initial dry line storms. And then after that, it'll say, along with potential for locally damaging winds, that's where the highest damaging wind one. Tornado potential is forecast to increase during the evening and overnight, so that's a little later in the night, obviously, as convection moves eastward across Texas and the boundary layer moistening continues. So the longer it sets is the more moist it'll get, which means the higher chance of the tornadoes, basically. So it'll be a hail threat, then it'll be tornado threat over the night. A few strong tornadoes will be possible through the evening and into the overnight hours. That is the thing right there. This is the key thing to take out of this. A few strong tornadoes could be possible. So anybody that lives in this area right here needs to keep their weather radios on and everything like that. I should be probably live at some point. I don't know if I'll be live over the whole thing, but you need to be live. But you need to be watching and listening to the TV, the radio, everything in between, just so you know what's going on. Especially if it's a nighttime threat, you will not always get a visible tornado sighting, so it's just definitely something we want to keep watching for. Now we have day 3 moderate, which is insane. Like I said, it's the first ever day 3 moderate in March, I'm pretty sure is what I heard. So we got 45% significant, just all risk category, which will probably turn into a 15% significant tornado tomorrow if they keep moderate, which I don't know yet about that. We'll talk about that in a few seconds. Correcting marginal risk line. Yeah, there was something wrong with that the other time. Upper trough of expansive area, amplified cyclonic flow will shift gradually eastward across the central United States Tuesday, and a closed low will likely evolve over the mid-Missouri Valley with time. Now, I might have a little bit of thunderstorm risk, actually. That's kind of funny. So we got a regional severe weather outbreak, including potential for several tornadoes. Few potentially significant remains evident for Tuesday. Severe storms, including tornado risk, will likely be ongoing in the period of the Sabine River Valley. I don't know, I've never heard of that before. And the East Texas / western Louisiana, as a cold front moves steadily eastward. So this is very strong wording right here. This is extremely strong wording. We've got regional severe weather outbreak, potential for several tornadoes. Few potentially significant remains evident for Tuesday. Severe storms, including tornado risk, will likely be ongoing. So I mean, there's very very strong wording, and it says it's going to start here and it's going to just keep going through. The tornado risk will be there the whole time. Southerly flow ahead of the front. Limited heating destabilization to occur in the morning and the afternoon. At this time, it appears that in addition to the storms carrying ahead of the advancing front, prefrontal cellular convection will also evolve during the late morning/afternoon, with strong low-level southerly flow in place and 70 to 90 knots. Strong updraft rotation and low-level modes of cyclones will exist. As such, potential for strong tornadoes will exist with the evolving supercells storms ahead of the front. So this is discrete mode. Additionally, tornadoes with damaging winds and hail will be likely with the storm shifting eastward. So there will be a double line. There will be your the isolated supercells in front of the line, and then you'll have the actual line of storms, and they'll both have the possibility for tornadoes because the shear is so strong. So they'll have embedded cells in the main line, and then it also will have its own in front of the line supercells that are completely isolated. So this is going to be pretty crazy, possibly, if everything comes to how this is saying, which we're going to go dive into the models in a second after we get through this. Into the evening and overnight, severe risk including potential for tornadoes and damaging winds will continue while diminishing somewhat later in the period. Threat will likely spread across southern Alabama into the Florida Panhandle. So it'll probably just go right through here. Now day 4 is kind of our last day of this system. We got a 15%, right, just taking right off where this ends up. I think this it'll be a slider enhanced. It might get up to enhanced, depending on how that line develops. Medium range guidance included triple point crossing the central Appalachians. So there could be a point, maybe some tornadoes, possibly in a linear kind of setup. Potential for damaging winds and a couple of tornadoes, like I said. See, we could actually have the possibility of some tornadoes as we get out of this first 2 days. We could still have that next 4th day that could have some possibilities. So now early day 5 period, the cold front is expected to be moving offshore, lingering only in Florida. So there might be a marginal risk in the peninsula that day. Risk appears too low, obviously, to put a risk at it. Probably be marginal. I would say tomorrow they'll have a marginal risk for southern Florida. Potential too low, potential too low, potential too low, potential too low. So we are out of, after 4, we're out of it, completely out of it for a while. I think high pressure is supposed to dominate after that, which I'll point that out in a little bit. But yeah, it looks like high pressure dominates right at the end of this period of day 4. Then we get to high pressure and we're kind of out of the severe weather threat for a little bit, maybe till the end of the month. But we're going to dive into that right now. Actually, before we dive onto that, I'm going to look at this. So this is the Spc Convective Outlooks, and it's kind of the info page for this. So day 1, you got all this kind of stuff. You can have high. Day 2, you can have high, but it's a little bit, no, it's about the same. It's exactly the same. Now see, day 3, you can't even have high risk, but we had the highest possible risk that you could possibly have for day 3. Moderate with 45% with significant severe. That is the highest you possibly can have for day 3, and that was issued for Tuesday. So that's why I'm interested in seeing, maybe we'll have a high risk. Maybe that is it's a possibility. Never want to rule that out. It's a guaranteed possibility that it could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. So either way, I don't know yet. We're going to look at the models and I'll make a little bit of a judgment there, but I don't know yet. It's just really, really interesting. It's quite intriguing that, though. I mean, this is the first time in March ever to have a 45% significant severe day 3 moderate. I mean, I was not expecting it really at all. But here we are now. So it's crazy. I mean, here we go. We'll have to see what they bring out tomorrow morning. It'll be a lot of pressure on whoever's doing the forecast for the day, but we're going to get to the models now. So we're going to look at the NAM. We're just the regular NAM. We're going to see what it's showing for most unstable CAPE. As you can see, look at this. Very, very high amounts of CAPE in the eastern Texas tomorrow. So we're going to take a nice sounding of the highest CAPE area and see what it shows. It obviously doesn't mean it's going to be the best area, but it has a better chance. It has 2700 CAPE, service CAPE, sorry, and then 9 SNH, that's very, very low. And then that's a weird looking HODO. Don't quote me on that, but that thing's kind of funky looking. It's a tiny HODO, very, very small HODO. Now let's look at the shear and see what we can, if we can get any good overlapping points for that shear. And the CAPE, what you want is about 60 to 70 to 80 knots of this stuff. That is usually where you'll get the tornadoes and possibilities like that. Now, the next day you can see that shear is way stronger, but we're going to take a sounding of this 79 knots. Oh, sorry, I think this is behind the line actually. Let's take this one as it gets over into Louisiana. Oh yeah, that's not good either. Maybe we shouldn't look at shear for getting it sounding. So let's look at the CAPE we already saw, and it's pretty good. It's 2,700, almost 3,000 cape. Now, storm relative helicity, that's a good one to see what the rotation, how strong that rotation is basically, could be. It's just basically shear, but a little bit easier to read for updrafts and stuff. Yeah, see, look how strong this is. Let's take one out here and show what this, yeah, look at this hodo. It's insane looking. Obviously that's not tornadic or anything because there's no cape at all. I think this is later than before the storm goes through. Significant tornado let's go to supercell composite and take a good sounding out of this if we can find one. We should be able to. Let's let it go ahead. Let's go ahead. Boom, 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 boom. What is the best point? There. So this is at 3Z Tuesday. Okay, yeah, there's a PDS tornado sounding. It's saying that is a very solid hodo. That is extremely solid. Like, I would definitely count that as tornadic. And then we've got, it's a little bit contaminated, but we got 2,300 cape, which is definitely enough. 67 dew point, which is definitely enough. Also, this is a pretty impressive hodo, honestly. So let's actually go look at one of the brand new things in this thing, the hodographs part in Pivotal Weather. I'm actually really excited to see this, and I'll point out which ones the best ones are and kind of why I think they're the best ones, because a lot of people don't actually know how to read them. But look, you see this? You see them start curving up. This kind of curve like this is what you want to see. Now, we're going to get to the best ones in a second when this cape rises all the way. Now, we're going to pick out what we think. Look at this. You see that? Look at this. This is an insane looking hodo. And look at that one. These kind of curves, they want to go like this, and then they kind of raise it up. But if they go like that, that is usually your best chance of tornado potential. You see these? They're all like really crazy curvy like that. Now, the next day, as you can see also, that same kind of thing. But these things are even more tornadic. Look at this one. Look at that. And that one. And that one. And that one. And that one. All of these around here are tornadic hodos. Like, those are insanely looking for tornadic development. These things are impressive. These are some of the most impressive hodos I've seen in a while, especially in the last few storms. But yeah, so I'm going to take a nice sounding on this hodo because that is an impressive one. Look at that. See that thing? It's 2,900 cape. That is insane. We got STPs insane. This is very, 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 very strong sounding. The cape, I mean, this looks like a Dixie, a regular Dixie kind of wind profile. And then we've got the nice hook over here with the hodo. So very interesting. This area tomorrow is that moderate risk. I don't know. I don't know if it'll go high or has a chance of going high yet, but it's probably not out of the question because it's day 3 and we have 2 more days. We have, what is that? 2 more updates tomorrow, and then we have, what is that, like 5 updates the next day. So I mean, we're gonna have 7 more updates for them to try to go and give us a high risk, I guess. Now look at this significant tornado parameter. That is a 5.2. Let's go look at that. That's higher than the other day here. I cherry picked a sounding. Look at this. Look at that hodo. That is insane. Look at that thing. It's crazy looking. And then this wind profile is also insane, and it's about right for Dixie. And then we got 2,600 cape there, and no SNH at all. But we got PDS tornado sounding, it looks like. But yeah, this is pretty insane of a sounding and everything. So I don't know. It looks pretty significant actually for this next day. Now this tomorrow or Monday, yes, tomorrow. And let's see if there's any. It's not really that high over here for this, but let's take a sounding right in that point. That's that far north. That obviously is not going to actually do that. So this is a PDS tornado sounding also. That's a small. These hodos are a lot smaller tomorrow. They're a lot smaller than the next day, but like this is okay wind profiles. The upper levels are pretty bad, but those 2 lower to the ground are actually pretty good. So this, I don't know really, but yeah, you can see this. It's not good, this upper level. You want this all to be the same way, and then that's also speed shear is also pretty good. The cape's 2,500 and low SNH. It still has a little bit of SNH, but that'll also just make it more discrete mode. So it could be pretty discrete mode tomorrow actually, if it can stay apart. That is a big problem. If they clump together, then it's going to be super messy and it's going to look like trash. Let's look at the more higher resolution models for tomorrow. Let's actually go look at the last HER that was all of these hours, and see what hold on, let me find it. The composite reflectivity is with the updrafts. I just want to see. I like this one because it's good at showing you the updrafts and how strong they are, and it's also composite, so it's really easy to read. So we're gonna go through up here and see what time they kind of come through. See that morning convection? That should be out of the way though. Yep. See, pretty messy, but look at that. Look at that. Those embedded cells like that. as insane. Let's zoom up a little bit, actually. Let's zoom to right there. And up near College Station, maybe even. And we're going to zoom up right here as we get to this next few hours. But look at this. Watch that. Look at those things. Every one of them is hooking. Look at this one. That is insanely large hail as we get in here. And look. Through the overnight hours, they just keep on going. They keep on going, and then they turn linear. It's a huge, massive linear line. You see this? There's tornado threats. All of these could have a tornado potential. And you see they come right on through. Now let's go look at the NAM 3K and show it what it's showing for this exact point and how it convects. And then we can also go look at how the next day convects on the NAM, because it reaches a little further. Actually, no, I don't think we can. Never mind. It's a little too far out. Now, here we go. Now, see, this is showing a way different story. It's not showing any convection starting. And look at that. That is a way stronger wind. But the NAM is always linear dominated. You can see it. Almost every time you see the NAM and it has a little bit of reflectivity, it's almost always, I would almost always say it's going to be wind dominated. That's how it is. That is how the NAM works, I guess. It's funny to say that, but it really, that's how it is. Because every single storm I've looked at on the NAM, it's always been wind dominated. So take this one with a little bit more grain of salt, even though take them both kind of with a grain of salt for now. But when we get to those 18-hour ones is when you get your best picture the night before usually. But let's watch as that comes in. You see that linear, and then it's just insane. Look at this messy line. Now I don't know. But you see this? Even the NAM is showing it. But this is a tornado potential here. But then also there and there, all of these in the warm sector that's in front of this line is also going to be, you see those things popping up? Those are tornadic supercells right there. That is where your best chance of tornadoes will be. These outliers in front of the storm, maybe not this far east, but maybe around here, that these are going to be your best chance for tornadoes, especially isolated tornadoes, especially strong tornadoes. That is the main thing to say. That is where the stronger tornadoes will form, just outside of that line. So that is where we're going to look for that. And let's see, what about, I think we've looked at about every single model. Let's say the FV3, it's always insane looking. It always prints a bunch of supercells. So I'm interested. Let's see what it shows for the next day, for Tuesday, sorry. This thing likes printing supercells, so if this is showing linear, then it probably is going to be pretty linear. You see it's showing linear, but yeah, look, those ones in front of it that are popping up, those are your tornadic supercells, really. See this line though. I mean, look at those updrafts. Look at those updrafts on that thing. That is insane. That updraft across the whole entire storm. But you see they pop up and they kind of go into the storm north. But these are your best chances around here for anything that develops could have a stronger tornado possible. But we're going to go on a little bit now, and we'll maybe look at the future a little further than the next few days. Actually, before we do that, we're going to go look at the National Weather Service, Jackson, Mississippi, and see what it's saying about the moderate risk. So tornadoes likely, some possibly strong. Again, I had said that a few times. Damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. There you go. Large hail up to golf ball size. There you go. Enhanced risk tornadoes possible. A strong tornado still can't be ruled out there. 70 mile per hour damaging winds. Golf ball size there too. And then slight risk tornadoes possible, damaging wind up to 60, hail up to quarter size. And it says timing's up to Tuesday. So basically all day Tuesday they'll be coming through this area. Now flash flooding Tuesday, this is the same thing. Elevated threat, 3 to 6 inches. That is an insanely high amount of precipitation in this short of a time, which we're going to actually go into the excessive rainfall outlooks right now. So today we've got a marginal one, barely right on that marginal risk of severe weather, but it's at the same kind of spot. Let's go to day 2. So day 2, we've got a moderate risk of excessive rainfall. Now that is also a pretty good thing to watch, because after these things develop over here, then they kind of move through here and drop tons of precipitation. So a lot of flooding will be occurring. A lot of that almost coastal flooding will be happening with 3 to 6 inches, and then here there's even bigger. Now I'm going to be under marginal for excessive rainfall. That's kind of crazy. Interesting. But yeah, we've got a 40% moderate risk of excessive rainfall in the same parts where that moderate risk of severe weather is. So there's just going to be flooding, and it's going to be extremely heavy precipitation at the time that these tornadoes are going to be forming. So it's going to be really dangerous. So you want to keep watch of different weather radios and the TV. I mean, everything. You want to make sure you're watching so you know what's going to happen here. Now you can see we have convection up north, up where I'm at, so there could be some possible flash flooding where I live, and maybe some thunderstorms. I doubt any severe thunderstorms, but some regular general thunderstorms could possibly be occurring up here, as you can see in the SPC Outlook for this. It's showing right here, so I might be able to get into a thunderstorm outlook, general thunderstorm potential by day 1, possibly. I don't know, but yeah, marginal for excessive rainfall outlook, which 1 to 6 hour exceeding flash flood guidance at this point. So that is a possibility. It's only 5% up here, but it's 40% down here. So that means there's almost a 50% chance that they're going to issue a flash flood warning in this area. Heavy precipitation as these tornadoes come through. To end this off, we're going to look at the Climate Prediction Center. We've been looking at this the last few videos, but we're going to look at it again. So actually, okay, so they updated this. So we got above average temperatures, so it's not going to be colder now. And look, that above average precipitation is actually coming in from the west, and they're finally going to get maybe a little bit of break. And the south's going to be all the way completely dry, it looks like. Now, 8 to 14 day, it shows almost the same thing. Now, I'm excited more about this one than last time because they updated it finally. But yeah, you see this. There's above average precipitations moving. So we're going to have possibly above average precipitation coming in for this next 6 to 14 days, because it's 6 to 14 day outlook. Now, 3 to 4 weeks, we've got, look at this. See, again, we've got a nice above average temperature or precipitation and temperatures. See, the temperatures are going to be pretty nice looking like for the next few weeks. Oh, sorry, 8 to 14, 6 to 10 day, it looks completely dry. So after these next few days, when that 6 to 14 day hits, we're going to have almost completely dry, below average for a lot of areas and below average temperatures for a lot of areas. But that 8 to 14, we get back in the precipitation, and then 3 to 4 weeks, we kind of get back into that again, and then 1 month looks about the same as 3 to 4 weeks, and then 3 month looks almost exactly the same as 1 month. So we've got a lot of above average precipitation for here, but the next few days after these ones can be completely dry. We got a lot of high pressures coming in. Temperature wise, we got a slight risk of some below average temperatures. Precip wise, nothing yet. Snow, we got none, and wind, we got for the northeast still, as I'd showed before. The drought risk, you see those droughts are developing, which they might go away. I think these droughts in eastern Iowa will be completely gone. A lot of the droughts down here will be completely gone after tomorrow and Tuesday. So that's going to help a lot. A lot of these, even though there's severe storms and stuff, I think these droughts are going to be a lot wanting to go away pretty easily with how much precipitation is going to fall, even up far this north, and especially down here. I'd even say eastern Texas could have a possibility of being out of that flood risk. But that's about it for this video. So we're going to look at maybe one more thing, or maybe not even. I think we've gone through about every single thing we needed to so far. So to conclude off this video, I just want to say I appreciate every one of you for joining and watching this video. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. It helps me out on my mission of helping save people and my storm chasing. Obviously, I like doing all this. So like and subscribe would be appreciated. Don't forget to turn your weather radios on if you live in these kind of areas, these 2 areas for the next few days. But that's about it for this video. So be careful. I should be streaming tomorrow. I might make even another video tomorrow if I have enough time. I don't know yet. But yeah, so stay safe and keep those weather radios on. You need to buy one if you don't have one. You have enough time right now, but you don't want to wait too long. Today's going to be pretty quiet, but tomorrow is going to really be ramping up. You see those early morning hours of Texas, and you'll know with that convection after that. But you can see, even on the HER, that doesn't reach the whole way. Those discrete cells are popping up in front of the line, which is the tornadic potential. So I don't know about high. A lot of people are asking the high risk question. I would say it's not out of the question. I'd say you've probably got about a 50-50 shot of getting high risk by the end of this, depending on what the models, the cams actually show for Tuesday as we get really close. I mean, we're getting close enough almost. I think by the next HER run, we'll get into enough view that we can see this. But I don't know. I would give it a shot, but I wouldn't say yes. If you ask me about high, I would not say yes, but I would give it a shot. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.